as we start, what I'd like to do is first say thank you. One of the big things is my hope for you guys is that you can pull something from this, whether it be one nugget, whether it be one piece of gold, one piece of something that you could share with someone else. You may have heard it all before, you may not have, but it's always good to readdress some of these things and be reminded, because I know from my training now with chiropractic and training other doctors, and also with training for triathlons, that health never really ends. It never really stops. Okay, so I want to say thank you for you taking the time to be here. We have 30 minutes of content that we're going to go through, and you spend time here. You spend time away from your families, you spend time away from the people that you love to learn. Okay, so share it with them. Okay, and I do the same. And I want to make sure that you understand that I'm here to help you understand how you can take care of yourself. Okay, because that's more important than anything else. Because if you're not open to doing those things, you can be doing the same things over and over, and you're going to get the same results. It's just going to get worse and worse and worse, and you have made that first step and change. So I appreciate you. Appreciate all of you being here. Having said that, we were laughing because we had this hydration and the benefits of water, water and the benefits of hydration. We were like, doesn't matter. Everybody gets the idea. So we're going to talk, and I even spelled it wrong. Typo. Typo. So one of the big things is we're going to talk about hydration. It's hot outside, yes?
Yes.
Okay, so should you be drinking more or less?
More.
Right. Okay. So that's an important thing. But let me ask you a question. In the cold winter months, should you still be hydrating yourself?
Yes.
Yeah. A lot of people don't. They think, oh yeah, it's cold. I feel okay. I don't need it. You have to, everything that you do, you have to look at. There are other things that you have to look at points when you start getting into athletic involvement and being out on the water. I mean, one of the biggest things that I find that's a problem is people will go to the beach, they'll go to the lake, and they won't drink enough. A lot of the times, I mean, they'll say, oh, they'll have a beer or some sort of drink. Is that hydrating you? No, it's dehydrating you. So you have to be very careful. And if you're drinking things like electrolyte drinks and things of that nature, you have to be careful with that too, because there's a lot of sugars. And is sugar hydrating you? No. Okay, so it's definitely something that you have to look at. So a lot of people are like, oh yeah, refreshing Coke, refreshing 7-Up. Everybody's starting to understand that's not the healthy way to go. Okay, so these are the things that we're going to sort of address. In this here, and you might not be able to see it, and I apologize that I didn't realize this would show up like this. If I turn off the lights, are you guys going to fall asleep? Sorry about that. But you can see here. You can see here. We have a website, infinitehealth.biz. We're also on Facebook. If you want to find out information about the office or things that are currently going on, these are the places you visit. Okay, because that stuff is updated on a consistent basis, and the women here are really good at doing that. So I'm going to go to the next one, and could you turn the light back on? This you should be able to read. Sort of, kind of?
No.
No, sorry. Sorry, it's better in the dark, huh? All right, so turn it off. So the importance of water in your health. This workshop is basics. Okay, it's going to teach you some stuff that you may already know, and some of the stuff that you don't know. It sounds simple, H2O, okay? H is 2 parts hydrogen and 1 part oxygen. This substance, also known as water, is one of the most essential elements to health, and it's so important that your body actually has a specific drought management system. Now, I didn't put the whole definition of the drought management system. It's about 1.5 pages long. If you want it, let me know. I'll print it for you. It's actually part of this slide presentation as the notes. Okay. This is in place to prevent dehydration and ensure your survival. Water might be everywhere, but one must never take it for granted. So, how much of our Earth is made of water? About 3/4, somewhere, depending on the books, it ranges from 2/3 to 3/4, you know, and you know, with global warming, you know, it could be more, you know, because the ice is melting, you know, it's somewhere in that vicinity. Guess how much water our body is made of?
3/4.
If you take everything into consideration, it's about 65 to 75%. Okay. What you're thinking about, we're going to talk about in a few minutes. What you're thinking about, we're going to talk about in a few minutes. But isn't it kind of amazing that we're mimicking what our Mother Earth is? Okay, it's pretty amazing that here we are, we worry about our ecosystem of the Earth, but we don't worry about the ecosystem of ourselves. And who's the one that's going to drive the ecosystem of the Earth? Us. Okay, because you know the animals aren't out there, sending up CO2 and and throwing garbage out. You know, they are one with nature. Okay, so you have to make sure that you understand that we are an ecosystem unto ourselves. Ourselves, everything that we have is a mimic of the larger picture. Okay, it's just in a more microcosmic standpoint. And if you get down even to quantum physics and quantum mechanics, and you start looking at the cell structure and the atom structure, that even mimics everything else that's going on. Okay, in a smaller version, it mimics a galaxy. It's I think back to a movie called Men in Black. Who saw Men in Black? Remember, and they were talking about the humans looking for a galaxy, and we're thinking in this large grand scheme of things, and it's actually on the cat's collar. Okay, in this little tiny thing. So you have to remember that we think macrocosmically, but microcosmically we are definitely a mimic of everything that's around us. So what we do to ourselves is happening to our environment. So you have to be aware of that. And the water that we take in is important. Now, when I go through at the end, I always usually go through the hierarchy of needs of our body, and I'll review that. But for anybody that's been here before, I usually go through the different hierarchies. Where does water usually end up? Does anybody remember? Say again?
The ocean?
In the ocean. That's a good one, I like that. But nutrition is usually on the bottom. Nutrition is usually on the bottom. Water is right above that. It's a triangle that we talk about in here. So think about that. Water is that second tier that we have to look at when we're doing things. So why is water important? Water makes up more than 2/3 of the human body weight, and without water we would die in a few days. That's that hierarchy of need. The human brain is made of up to 95% water, blood is about 82%, and lungs 90%. The numbers vary depending on where you read the studies. Okay, the numbers vary between 80 and 95% depending on what's going on. A mere 2% drop in our water supply can trigger signs of dehydration. Has anybody ever experienced this stuff? Anybody who's experienced it, you can read that. Fuzzy short-term memory, trouble with basic math, difficulty focusing on small print such as a computer screen. Has that ever happened to anybody?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. You know what? You know where else this also happens? In a concussion. Okay. I mean, so you have to really be aware of what's going on and what's happening. But the thing is, these are signs of dehydration, headaches. Massive. We were talking earlier, and one of the individuals was saying to me, "Yeah, I think I'm a little dehydrated. My head's starting to hurt." Yeah, it's hot outside. You have to make sure that you have a lot. And we put a formula up on the website that is similar to something that I do in calculation, but it makes the calculation a little easier. So if you're having trouble reading, make sure you're drinking up, and I'm not talking about alcohol. A mild dehydration is also one of the most common causes of daytime fatigue. If someone tells you they're tired during the day, there's a couple of things that can obviously cause it. There's several things that can cause it. One, they didn't sleep enough the night before. Two, the foods they're eating is causing fatigue. But the first thing, if anybody ever comes into here and says to me they have a headache, what's the first question I always ask?
Did you drink water?
Did you drink enough water? Okay, and you should be drinking a lot of water after your adjustments also. Okay, and we'll explain why in a few minutes. But keep that thought in mind, because you should be drinking a lot of water after your adjustments. What other type of treatments or care can you get where you should be drinking a lot of water afterwards? Massage. Yeah, massage is a big one. Okay, so there's a reason for that, and we're going to talk a little bit about that. An estimated 75% of Americans have mild or chronic dehydration. Pretty scary statistic for a developed country, where water is readily available through the tap or bottled water. Okay, it's scary. We have it accessible to us. There's no reason we should be dehydrated. What's the number one reason people usually say they don't drink enough water? Don't drink water.
I'm not thirsty.
I'm not thirsty, right?
Too busy, forgot.
That's pretty much
Too
it.
busy, forgot.
Too many times to the bathroom.
Too many times to the bathroom. That's the big one. I hear that, oh, I gotta go. But the thing is, if you drink the water on a consistent basis, initially, yeah, it's gonna go through and detox you and flush things out. But afterwards, your body is actually going to start using that water for what it's necessary for. And think about it. I mean, some people even drink what they call ozonated or oxygenated water, because they're trying to get more oxygen into the system. And oxygen is important for what? Everything. You know, I mean, it's not, you don't want to breathe water, but you know, obviously you can use the oxygen from it in other ways. So that's an important thing. So that's something that we have to look at. Importance of water in your health. Water is important to the mechanics of the human body. The body cannot work without it, just as a car cannot run without gas and oil. In fact, all cell and organ functions that make up our entire anatomy and physiology depend on water for their function. There's not one system in our body that doesn't need water or some sort of lubrication. Think about the discs of your spine. The discs of your spine have to. Anybody know what inebriation means? That's when you're drunk. That's when you're drunk because you've drank too much. Okay? And sometimes they call that imbibing in something, or imbibing a liquid is drinking in something too much. Well, guess what? That's what your discs do. They actually, with the functionality and movement of your body, which we're supposed to be doing, the discs will actually pump and they will actually absorb or imbibe water into it so the discs get larger and stay full. So if you're not drinking water, what's happening to those discs? They're dehydrated. Okay? Yes, exactly. And they can cause pain. Okay? Because if it starts to dehydrate or prenate, what ends up happening is you're gonna have those things going on. Also, anybody hear of the term osmosis? What do most people say when they're talking about osmosis? I heard it through, you know, he learns through osmosis, puts the book up against his head, you know, I mean, no, that's not, osmosis actually is, Fran is laughing over it, Tina is laughing over that, but, you know, have you ever used that term? Yeah, they learn by osmosis, you know, it's like, yeah, I used to fall asleep in my books a lot, not in chiropractic school, but when I was in engineering. But the thing is, but osmosis deals with osmolality and how the water actually goes in and out of the cells. Okay, and the number of salts. I mean, there's a huge factor of understanding of what's necessary, because if you're drinking too much water, your body will get rid of it. It will take out whatever impurities are there, and it'll flush it out. Okay, but the thing is, it's really hard to drink too much water. Although some people will argue that you can, drink too much water and you can have, water problems, but you have to drink a lot of water for that to happen. I mean, your stomach, I mean, you really have to drink a lot. So it's important, and especially, in the calculation I'm going to give you, it's going to be a little easier to understand. So water serves as a lubricant in digestion and almost all other body processes. Why in digestion? The water in our saliva helps facilitate chewing and swallowing, ensuring that food will slide easily down the esophagus. That's why it's important to chew your food. Okay? Have you ever hear the term, oh, he inhales his food? Yeah, not good. Okay, because then it gets down into the system and your body can't really break apart the pieces. Okay, it has to work harder to do that. So the fluid, the saliva and everything that's in there is important. If you're not drinking enough water, guess what? It ain't going to happen. It's not going to happen. So it's important that it happens. Water also lubricates our joints and cartilages, is what I was just talking about. It allows them to move more fluidly. No pun intended. When dehydrated, the body rations water away from the joints. Less lubrication equals greater friction, and that can cause joint, knee, and back pain, potentially leading to injuries and arthritis. Even our eyeballs need plenty of lubrication to work well and remain healthy. look at this, okay? How many people come in here for this stuff? You need to help me. You need to drink some water. Okay, please, help yourself more importantly. What's that?
Not as much fun as beer.
No, it's not. But that's going to dehydrate your joints and cause more problems. Well, if you want to do that, you can keep me in business. That's okay.
I think
You know,
that help.
I mean, I drink a beer a night or two. You know, I mean, it depends, but not always, but usually just to relax. But you know, the thing is, it's important. It's just like I was talking about. You know, you need to. If you have greater friction in there, you're going to cause the arthritis. Things are going to start wearing down prematurely. So you can help yourself with everything that's going on. Water regulates body temperature. How does it do that? Our bodies control overheating through perspiration from sweat glands in the skin and from evaporation, which produces a cooling effect. This is an important aspect because I sweat a lot. Okay, I'm one of those people that has the the wonderful habit of sweating a lot. I mean, just sitting still, I'm sweating. Okay, why? My metabolism runs at a higher rate. Could you ever guess that about me? But the thing is, some people don't sweat, and when they don't sweat, I'm always very concerned. Okay, I was talking with a doctor the other day about somebody that wasn't sweating. I was like, wow, are they drinking enough water? They do. We actually tracked it, and we were trying to figure out, was it the kidneys? Was it? I mean, we just couldn't figure out what it was, but it might have something to do with the sweat glands. It might have something to do with the glands themselves. So you have to make sure that that's important. Blood is also routed into areas close to the surface of the skin where it can be cooled and then carried back to the interior of the body. Conversely, in a cold environment, the skin maintains proper body temperature by shunting the blood away from the exterior surface, therefore conserving heat within the body. So it's bringing it more to the core to keep your body warm. Okay, the movement of water within our cellular system also transport vital blood plasma, which is 92% made of water. So this is the differences in the numbers. Like there's blood, and then there's blood and plasma. And there's a difference because blood plasma is not the same. It's a constituent of the blood that adds to it. Blood plasma may play a critical role in buffering the body's pH, circulating antibodies from the immune system, and regulating osmotic balance, which all helps maintain proper body temperature. So when someone gets a virus or a bacteria, what usually happens? A fever. Okay? It's normal. A fever is a normal reaction of your body to some sort of foreign invader. Okay, and then the body works on routing this stuff where it's supposed to be in order to fight it. It also helps in buffering the body's pH. Water is pretty much neutral. Okay, but if you add a lot of acid to it, it becomes more acidic. If you add more base to it, it becomes more basic. Okay, our body fluctuates in a very, very fine area between acid and base. Okay, and the thing is, if your body is more acidic, what do you think is going to happen to your joints? Wait, I'm sorry.
The swell, become more inflamed?
Yeah, swell. And what did you say?
They'll get worse.
They'll get worse, right. Yeah, so the thing is, you have to be careful of that. So some of the things that you can eat, one, water will help to bring it back, but lemon in the water helps to alkalize your body, believe it or not. Even though it's a citric acid fruit, it alkalizes your body. And the way they figured out, they'd figure that out by, that's a whole nother lecture, but they figure that out by burning the fruit and seeing what kind of ash you get from it. And it tells you whether it's an alkaline or acid, okay, in your body. So there's a difference in the way they figure those things out, but alkalinity in our system is very important. Now, if you're too alkaline, you can have a problem too. Okay, but the thing is, in our society, with the diets we eat and the things that we are exposed to, we're very acidic. So usually most people can't eat enough of alkaline stuff to stay alkaline. And the reason I know this is I have a nephew who, when he was born, had very alkaline blood, and he had scarring and all kinds of skin issues, and so they started to balance it out. But that's a rare situation. In most cases, we're acidic. So it's important that water helps to regulate that system there that's going on. This is what I was talking about, why you should be drinking water after an adjustment. Because when you adjust somebody, it starts to open up the nervous system and say, okay, let me get rid of these toxins. Water helps that. It helps flush the toxins. That's why it's important to do it after a massage. The difference between what we're doing and the massage therapist is doing, though, is that the massage therapist is working on the muscles, and when we adjust the nervous system or we adjust the spine, it actually essentially affects 5 systems in the body. It affects muscular, it affects neurological, it affects the any sort of pathological change, the kinesthetic or the kinetic changes, and also the tissues that are around it. So it actually affects 5 systems just by one adjustment. An adjustment doesn't take that long, but it has a vast effect on everything. And that's why drinking the water is really important, because water helps to flush that stuff out. When you get up in the morning, usually someone, when they're going to the bathroom and their urine is usually darker color in the morning. And if you're drinking enough water throughout the day, it usually clears out. Someone who's drinking a lot of water usually doesn't have too much of a problem with that. You can tell if you're hydrated, if your urine is coming out clearer. Okay. However, you have to be careful too with that, because sometimes some people that are diabetic or have some other issues with their kidneys, the water will still, their urine will still come out clear because they're having problems with blood urea nitrogen and creatinine and expelling a lot of things. So you have to look, but water is a simple flushing system that can help. It does act like a diuretic. Everybody knows what a diuretic is? Diuretic just flushes water out of the system. So you have to make sure that you're replacing the systems in there. But if you're drinking water and coffee like I do, you go to the bathroom a lot. Okay? Because I like the taste of coffee. It's unfortunate, but I love the taste of the coffee, but the caffeine is not. He's nodding his head like, no, it's not unfortunate, that's good for you. A little bit is good. No, I drink more than that. So the thing is, but I don't put any sugar or cream in it. Okay, so that's an important thing to look at. So that's important, so it helps to flush out those. Water also helps to transport valuable nutrients to the body. Blood is about 82% water. Again, it ranges between 80 and 95% depending on what you read. And it carries nutrients and oxygen throughout the body. This is what I was talking about earlier. Nutrients from the food we eat are broken down in the digestive system when they become water soluble, which means they are dissolved in the water. This is why if you don't chew your food, it's not going to break down to the systems that you need for your body to be able to digest it. And where does digestion happen mostly in our body? In the small intestine. It doesn't happen in the stomach, it happens in the small intestine. Digestion of our food happens mostly. The stomach is just like a stopping point just to start the process, and most of the digestion happens in our intestinal lining, and then the nutrients are spread out throughout the body. Okay, so it's sort of like the stomach is like this big, 2-liter bottle of whatever, in there, because it can expand to 2 liters, believe it or not. And then it holds this stuff there, it puts all the chemicals in there, and helps with the process, and then it sends it out. And then the rest of the chemicals are actually injected in right where the stomach and the small intestine meet. Okay, and that's where the digestion actually really starts to happen. Okay, but if you really think about it, digestion starts at your mouth, because you need to chew, but a majority of it happens in your stomach. In your small intestine, sorry. So this is a very important thing. The water allows the nutrients to pass through capillaries within intestinal walls to the blood. So capillaries, how small are capillaries? They're tiny, 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 tiny. They're the size of one red blood cell in width. So think about it, okay? If you have thick blood because you're not drinking water, and you have thick blood because of, there could be some other reasons for it, but if you have, you can dam up that capillary, and guess what? You're not getting the nutrients to that portion of your body. And the nervous system gets this response that says, oh, we've got to sidetrack, and then it has to go around and figure out other capillaries and maybe find a larger vessel. Because you have aorta vein, you have arteries, veins, and then they get down into the capillaries, these small capillaries. You need to make sure it's fluid. If you're drinking sugar with everything that you do, guess what? It's going to just thicken your blood, and it's going to slow things down. And what's going to happen if it's not carrying the nutrients where it goes? Think back to the first slide. Dizziness, exhaustion, fatigue, joint pain, because it's not being flushed. So water is much more important than just, okay, I need to have water in my system. So those are the things that we look at. So drinking to your health. Since water is such an important component to our physiology, it would make sense the quality of the water should be just as important as the quantity. So, who drinks bottled water? Okay, do you know where it came from? Do you know this? Huh?
Poland Spring.
Poland Spring. Okay. Poland Spring is actually, I don't know too much, but Poland Spring is actually one of the better ones, from my understanding. But I don't analyze water. Okay. I don't analyze water. But the thing is, if you buy just like the regular stuff off the shelf, or like Sam's Club or stuff, it is the standard for bottled water like that is the same as the standard for tap water. So you can just drink out of the tap. It's the same thing. Okay, but if you're buying a purer type of water, then yeah, okay. Like I drink this stuff because it has electrolytes in it, and because I sweat so much, I want to make sure I have the electrolytes in my body. Because I don't like to eat salt, although recently I've been craving salt. What does that tell you? So, you know, and you have to listen to what your body's saying to you. So, and therefore, your drinking water should always be clean and free of contaminants to ensure proper health and wellness. Is that not one of the major problems around the world today? Is clean water? We live in a country where we are blessed with a system where we can get clean water on a pretty consistent basis. Okay? There's no reason we should be sick or ill from not drinking enough water. It is never too late to improve your health with that of regular exercise, balanced nutrition, and a positive outlook on life. Woohoo! The human body is very self-resilient. If you treat yourself well, you'll be surprised. Your body's own natural ability to heal itself. Wow. That's pretty cool, huh? Your body has an amazing ability to heal. We are innately given the ability to heal. We get rid of cancer cells on a daily basis. We get rid of, and we excrete a lot of stuff every day. But if you're not drinking water and keeping yourself hydrated, your body is not trying to flush that stuff out. And that's only one of the things that you have to do, but it's a simple one. It really is not that hard to drink water. It may be a little different for some of you. You know, I'd like to have a hot toddy at night sometimes to go to bed, but you know, that's, it's only the beginning. This is the beginning of your thought of change, you know, and your ability to change. Because what happened in the past, yes, formed you to who you are today, but in reality, can you turn the lights on, kind of? But in reality, if you want to stay healthy, your choice starts today. You can't predict the future, you can't, you know, change the past, but you can choose now to make differences in your life. And, you know, don't wait till it's too late. In the recent, just today, did anybody hear about the shark attack?
Yeah.
Okay, I was amazed at that. Okay, here's a guy, he was a surfer, he was in a competition in South Africa, and he was in the water, and all of a sudden this shark came up and attacked him, and he fought off the shark. He fought off the shark, and you know, then they got, you know, the boats and everything there, and they got him up on one of the things. And in a matter of a split second, let me ask you a question. Could you fight off a shark if you were in the water like that? Or would you be struggling?
Panicking, probably.
Yeah.
You know, think about it, okay? This guy was in such good physical shape and took care of himself so well that, yeah, he might not have been able to fight off that situation because, you know, a shark is a shark. But he gave himself the best opportunity available because he started swimming away and swimming to the, I think it was a jet ski or something like that, to get onto the jet ski. He would never have been able to do that. He would have never, ever been able to do that if he was not taking care of himself. But it started with one thought and one change. Okay? Simple. Drink some water. It's really easy. It's really, really simple. Thank you very, very much for being here. If you know of anybody, we had a full class tonight. I've actually had about 60, 70 people in here one time, and I was blessed up against the wall. It was great. It was good. But if you know anybody that wants to come to a workshop, invite them. It doesn't cost anything, and they can learn something about how to take care of themselves. If they want to come get checked, have them call up the office, and I'm sure if I said you can think of somebody and a name pops into your head, you could probably all shout out names. Okay, you could all shout out names. I don't want you to write them down, I don't want you to do anything. I just want you to put prayers out to those people, okay, and say, hey, I'm looking forward to you being healthier, okay, and just put that out there to them, and hopefully they'll hear it. Thank you very, very much for coming. Woo! 30 minutes!
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Just give me a minute, okay? If you want to have a seat out there. Thank you, Tara, for contributing. I appreciate it.
You know, you rate because she didn't even open her book when she stood at the front of the room.
Thank you.
And I'm going to tell you, I have to like cover the book up so you can just get out.
I think I've been wanted by 90% of my problems.
You don't drink any water?
I don't drink enough.
Yeah.
That's the problem. Everything's going on the house, sweating, you know, and then.
Oh, I agree on here.
No.
Well, that's the thing.
A little bit of water.
And the thing is, with the beer, you know, it'll taste really good going down because you feel like you're hydrating yourself.
You're not.
But the alcohol actually, after
it out,
it dry, yeah, it just drains it right out.
My mother always said to me, if you have a cup of coffee, you need to drink 1 glass of water to equal that to
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well,
to
that's.
cancel it out, not just.
Oh,
to
I
get
didn't
up
even
with
go
it.
over the formula of how much water you should drink, but just starting to drink. But
It's
yeah,
on
I
the
drink. I
website.
go through. Yeah, it's on the Facebook. But I drink probably 3 or 4 of these types of bottles every day. Okay, so that's like a gallon of water a day.
Good Lord.
Yeah, I drink a lot of water. I mean, and I also drink a lot of coffee, but I drink a lot of water.
Yeah.
Cool. Oh, I think I have to stop the video.
I learned a few things out on this one.
I'm glad to hear that. That's the idea. I always forget where the button
You
is.
started saying these different things.